Christ is not an abstract idea. Christ is presence in the suffering, in the vulnerable, in the person in front of us who is easy to overlook. How do we know that? Because Jesus himself told us that. This past Ash Wednesday, I was at the Broadview ICE Processing Center. I was there with men in detention. We gave communion. We also had Mass later in the day, and I listened to Cardinal Blaise Cupich preach. Later, I encountered someone commenting critically that Cardinal Cupich decides to talk about immigrants on Ash Wednesday instead of talking about Jesus. That headline completely misses the point, because what I heard that day was about Jesus. The Gospel of Ash Wednesday calls us to conversion, not just in private, but in how we live, how we see others, how we love. And Jesus is very clear. What you did for the least of these, you did for me. So when the cardinal spoke about migrants, about detainees, about the dignity of those often ignored or dismissed, he was not changing the subject. He was naming where Christ is. So sitting in that detention center, you could see the faces. You could feel the weight of uncertainty, of separation from family, of fear. And into that reality, the church proclaimed the gospel. Not politics, not ideology, the gospel. The gospel that insists every person has dignity. A gospel that refuses to look away. A gospel that calls us to conversion, not just of ashes on our foreheads, but of our hearts. To say that speaking about immigrants is somehow not speaking about Jesus is to totally misunderstand Jesus himself. Because if we cannot recognize Christ in the vulnerable, then we are not seeing clearly. And often, that blindness comes from fear. But the love of Christ does the opposite. It opens our eyes. It expands our hearts. It pushes us toward those we might otherwise avoid. That's what I witnessed on Ash Wednesday. Not a distraction from Jesus, but a deeper encounter with him. And the real question for us is this: will we see Christ where he tells us he is? Or will we turn away because it's uncomfortable? Because in the end, this is not about a headline, it's about whether we choose fear or the love of Christ.